Thero and Saranai, dear Dhamma friends. I would like to warmly welcome you all to the second session of our Foundations of Abhidhamma, a guided reading circle. And we are especially honoured to welcome Venerable Atulanaṇa Thero, bhante, and we would like to express our sincere gratitude to Bhante for taking the time to guide us in our Abhidhamma learning. And I hope today's session will deepen our understanding of the Buddha's teachings and support us in our practice. So with great respect, I would like to invite Venerable Atulanaṇa Thero to begin the session. Theruvan Saranai.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so dear Dhamma friends, so I hope that we are meeting after 1 month, and I hope that y'all did the reading, right? The recommended reading, and I saw some of the questions in the Google Classroom, and I answered some of them. And I said some of the questions will be answered in this session. So straight away, I will move into those questions. Right. So most of the questions, they popped up at the last minute. Right. So I copied these questions. Okay, I will answer these questions later on. Now I will address these questions now, right? Okay. Some of the Perth youth had few questions from their studies and all. Okay. What is the meaning of mental factors, and could Bhante please provide a simple example to help us understand them more clearly? Okay. There are certain I hope that you all read. I mean, in the reading that there was an introduction in one of those books on the 4 ultimate realities in Abhidhamma. So those 4 ultimate reality is mind, citta, cetasika, the mental factors, the cetasika, materiality, rupa, nibbana. Those are the four ultimate realities. So the mental factors are the second type of ultimate realities. So some of these mental factors we know already. It's very easy to understand. These mental factors are there in our day-to-day knowledge, day-to-day usage in our life. We know, right? So one of them is the one we can very easily understand is the lobha, the attachment, right? So any form of craving, any form of attachment, whether it's in a grosser form or whether it's in a subtler form, it's a mental factor, right? So when we have kind of an attachment, need, liking, then there is this attachment, right? So that's one example. So that's from unwholesome side, right? So it's easy to figure out the unwholesome side. The second one is the conceit, right? So when we have conceit on something, let it be on your wealth, let it be in your appearance, let it be on your any other achievement, right? Let it be on what you possess. So in these kind of places, the mental factor of conceit is there, right? Another easy mental factor for us to understand is hatred, right? In Pali, we call it dosa. So hatred means like literally hatred in English, we say it's called some kind of an intense form of disliking. We call it hatred, but this word dosa, which is translated into English as hatred, it represents any form of disliking, right? Any form of disliking, any form of anger, right? That's called hatred, right? So it can be a very subtle form of anger that you may have on the weather, right? If the weather is not good, and then you may not like the weather, and there will be a slight form of anger do this. That's hatred, right? So then in there will be hatred in a very grosser form. Such as having some kind of a hatred, disliking, having an intention to harm somebody. That's another mental factor, right? Hatred. So there are things we can understand like that. From the wholesome side, right? Things which we can easily understand is a mental factor is it's karuna. Karuna means being having empathy on someone who is has fallen into trouble, right? So it's sometimes it can be quite it can be quite uh, it can be quite deceitful, that it can deceive yourself, that it's sometimes it can be hatred or subtle form of anger, but sometimes if it's on that kind of a scenario, then it's a wholesome mental factor, right? Then saddha, it's the faith that we have on the triple gems, right? The triple gems and the acceptance and the belief of on the karma and results. So that again, it comes with saddha. So there are mental factors like that, right? So the important thing is to distinct these two, the mental factor and the mental factors and the mind, right? So in the first chapters in the Abhidhamma, we'll be learning about the mind, the first chapter. And the second chapter, we'll be learning about the mental factors. So these mental factors and the mind and the mental factors, they arise together. And at the same time, these are two distinct dhammas. These are two distinct phenomena, but but they arise because they arise together. We sometimes think that it's the same, right? But it's not the same, right? So the function, the job of the mentality, the mind is to cognize an object, to recognize something, to cognize an object. But the function of the mental factors, it change, right? It depends. I mean, they vary, right? Say, for example, for the function of the mental factor, greed, attachment, is to make that person, to make the mind and the associated phenomena attached to that particular thing or object, right? So that's the thing of the mental, that part of the mental factor, that specific mental factor of lobha. And the function of the anger, the hatred, is to have a to collide with that object that the mind is taking, right? To have some kind of a disliking towards that object. So those are two phenomena, right? So maybe in the beginning this might be a little bit difficult for y'all to understand, but hopefully at the next chapter will be very clear when we learn about the different distinct mental phenomena, both mentality, I mean the mental factors and the mind. Okay, any questions on this we can discuss before moving? Okay. Okay, so I really like to actively to engage with y'all in this conversation, right? So rather than waiting for the end of the session to clarify all your questions, I would rather like to answer these questions then and there and move forward. So I hope that this first part, this question is clear, right? So who asked this question, by the way?
So it was like a group of us from Perth.
Okay. Right. In lesson 5 of how would Bhante answer the following question. So this is lesson 5. It's in the
Abhidhamma Margaya.
Yeah. What is the page number?
37.
So you're asking this thing, right? The questions, right? Okay.
Yes.
Somebody asked me whether we are going, I mean, we will clarify, we will answer these questions. So they wanted to have feedback. I think we should have that kind of a thing. Anyway, so this question is number 5, right? No,
Number 7.
number 7. Division according to which Dhamma makes the number of unwholesome consciousnesses 8. So that is based on I think I have to check the, sometimes it's better to check. Not sure whether this is translated correctly.
That's what we thought, Swami Mansa. We thought the question was not kind of worded properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So what it means that how does the consciousness associated with greed becomes 8 consciousnesses? Like based on what criteria that these 8 consciousnesses are there for the lobha. So the so one is based on the vedana, the feeling, right? So there are 2 types of vedana. The that is the 2
Glad.
types of yeah, the what is the, yeah, the glad minded, that's the term that is used, the glad minded, and the second one, so this is the first criteria, right? So based on the, yeah, based on the vedana, right? So glad minded, and this is the first criteria, and the second one is the unprompted and prompted. This is the second criteria, and the third one is connected with wrong view, and then we have the consciousnesses connected, not connected with wrong view. So those are the criteria that these 8 consciousnesses rooted in greed are being divided into 8. Clear, right?
Simon, are they saying like at the end, like they've shown here, these are the 8? Is that what they're asking? Like the 3 criteria are it's glad minded and equanimous and prompted, unprompted. Wrong.
How does, yes, I mean, in general, I would say like, so we can say, I mean, the greed arises in our mind, right? So if you look it in that way, it's one, right? One type of mentality, mind, one type of consciousness, right? You can say that if you take it as one, the greed arises in our mind. So, but in the Abhidhamma, our Lord Buddha, he divided this based on the Vedana, this feeling, the glad-minded, on the equanimity, and this promptedness and the unprompted phaser, and the connection with the wrong weave and not connected with the wrong weave. It's divided into 8.
Yeah. Thank you, Swami Mansa.
Okay, next question is the Okay, so these are on the supramundane consciousness. Okay, anyway, I will go through this. Okay, is an arahant someone who has entered supramundane consciousness or supramundane sphere? Well, we'll be learning about this thing in the supramundane consciousnesses. Anyway, I will answer it here. Arahant is a person that who has, in the division of the consciousnesses, there are four types of supramundane consciousnesses, right? The Sotapatti, the entering the stream enterer, entering path consciousness, and then there are 8 consciousnesses rather, which is applied for 4 stages, right? The stream enterer, for the the once returner, the third one is for the non-returner, and the fourth one is for the arahant. So arahant is the final stage. So why there are these stages? We know that why there is a rebirth. It's because of certain defilements that we have, right? So the defilements we have, because of that, there will be karmas, either good or bad, and these karma will result in rebirths. So once these defilements are being eradicated, then that person will not be reborn, right? So that's how this rebirth is extinguished. So this extinguishing or the eradication of the defilements are done in 4 stages, right? So in these these supramundane consciousnesses, there are 2 types, right? So it's called path consciousnesses, right? Path consciousnesses, there are 2 types, right? Path consciousnesses, path consciousnesses and the fruit consciousnesses, right? So path consciousness is a wholesome karma, right? It's a special wholesome karma, and this wholesome karma has the ability to eradicate a certain part of defilements, right? For if you take this stream entry person, a certain part of the defilements are being eradicated by this path consciousness, which is this wholesome karma, and this fruit consciousness is a resultant, right? Resultant consciousness, which arises immediately after the path. Which arises immediately after the it arises immediately after the path. So so the one who has the eradicated all defilements is called an arahant. So he has reached, he had achieved, he has attained this path consciousness, and obviously after the path consciousness, there is this fruit consciousness, and that person after that, right? After the point, once he enter the fruit consciousness, right? Immediately after the arahant path consciousness, that person itself is called an arahant, right? So he does not need to enter into a supramundane consciousness, right? At the point of fruit consciousness, yes, that person is called an arahant. And even after that, right, after becoming an arahant, there will be other consciousnesses, right? The arahanta will walk, right? The arahanta will teach Dhamma, he will meditate. So in all these scenarios, there will be different consciousnesses, right? Certain consciousnesses which arises in us, arises in the arahanta too, right? We'll be going to these details later on, right? So no need to worry too much, right? So certain consciousnesses, we also have the same consciousnesses. So after this state, after achieving this fruit consciousness, that person will be called an arahanta, right? And in this question, right? Okay, is this clear?
Yes, Swami Mansa.
Okay. Okay, so in this question, in this question, I would like to explain one more thing here, right? this supramundane sphere, right? So what is this spheres, right? So so in this, you all have you all have learned, I think, about 4 types of spheres, right? The
Yep.
sensuous, and the second one is the
Fine material.
fine material, right?
Yep.
Fine material and
Immaterial
non-material or immaterial.
and supramundane.
Yeah, and finally it's the supramundane, right? Yeah. So these are those 4, say the 4 the 4 spheres that we learn, right? In Pali, we call it bhumi. Bhumi means the sphere. So these spheres, sphere means it means a land, right? A place where people live. So in this sensuous sphere is a place that we live, right? So for this sensuous sphere, there are 11 realms, right? So one is human world, and there are 4 forms of hell, and there are 6 deva realm, right? For the deity, so there are 11, and for fine material there are for the yeah, I write it here, right? Yeah. So there are 11 places, right? 11 lands, literally, right? So then for the fine material, there are 15, and for the immaterial, there are
12.
4, right? So we have 26, 30.
Oh, yes, 4.
Did I miss someone? It's 16, right? Here it's 16. Yeah, so there are 16. So this is the breakdown of the land. But for the case of the supramundane, right, even though this term, the sphere, has been used by our Lord Buddha, there is nothing, there is no place called a supramundane sphere. There is no land for them specifically, right? So in this categorization, the way that this is the dhammas, these certain dhammas, certain phenomena are being categorized, it's given as supramundane sphere. It's called Lokuttara Bhumi in Pali. But still, it does not assign a specific place for that, right? In these spheres, the basis for this analysis, basis for these spheres are the consciousnesses which arise in these places, right? So in the sensuous plane, in the 11 planes, most of the time, for the beings, there are these sensuous consciousnesses, right? So there are 54 sense consciousnesses that you all may have known the division by now in your reading. There are 54 consciousnesses for the given. So in most of the time, for the beings who live in these 11 places, these 54 types of consciousness arise. So for the fine material, there are 15 consciousnesses, and in the fine material sphere, these consciousnesses arise in most of the time. And in the case of immaterial sphere, the immaterial consciousness arise most of the time, right? So why I'm using the term most of the time is that in the sensuous sphere, certain beings, they can attain the fine material and immaterial consciousnesses, and even the supramundane consciousnesses, right? They are hantas, they live, they can become an arahanta as a human. So they live in the sensuous sphere, then they can arrive, they have the ability, gain the ability to they will have these supramundane consciousnesses, right? And of course, there are practitioners meditating. They can attain the fine material absorptions. They can attain the immaterial absorptions, right? So that's why I use the term mostly, most of the time. And it's the same case with the fine material sphere and immaterial sphere. The consciousnesses from the other places, other spheres, can arise in these places, right? There are, of course, certain limitations in these spheres. We will be learning it I think in the 5th chapter. Yeah, I think in the 5th or the 4th chapter, we'll be learning on these the limitations and what are the types of consciousnesses which arise for different individuals in these spheres, right? So, but there is nothing called there is no place really, a sphere, a land called a supramundane land, right? So, supramundane consciousnesses, they arise in all these three places, right? In the sensuous planes, the fine material, and also in the material too.
Swami Manse, is the fine material and immaterial spheres, are they the Brahma worlds?
Yes, they're called the Brahma realms.
Okay. Thank you, Swami Manse.
Okay, the next consciousness, the next question is, I think it's connected to what I already explained. When an individual is experiencing supramundane consciousness and they subsequently engaged in ordinary activities such as wearing clothes or eating food, can unwholesome arise or unwholesome consciousness arise? The book describes 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and 3 unwholesome roots. Do each of these 12 consciousnesses arise from? Okay, I have to break this question into a couple of. Okay, so the first part of the consciousness, first part of the question, for the Arahantas, as I mentioned in my previous answer, that they have eradicated their defilements, which means, once something is eradicated, right, then it will not arise again. That's the nature of it, right? So for the Arahantas, there won't be any unwholesome consciousnesses, right? But for the but for the non-returner, the anagami person, there will be certain unwholesome consciousness. So by that time, by when they have become an once non-returner, they have eradicated certain defilements. So they will not have certain types of unwholesome consciousnesses, but still there will be certain types of consciousnesses. For this case of the anagamis, they will not have attachment on the things on the sensuous plane, right? So they won't have the attachment on wearing clothes or eating food, right? They will wear foods and eat clothes, of course, obviously, but they will not have any attachment. They have subtle forms of attachment towards to be reborn in the Brahma realms, right? So they can have that type of consciousnesses, attachment, but not the grosser forms of attachment. So for the Sotapanna and the ones the stream enterer, and for the once returner, it's also like that, right? So certain forms of defilements will not arise in their day-to-day activities, but certain forms will arise, right?
Swami Manse, like for a Rahatan Mahanse, when because they still have to like go for alms and wear clothes, like will there be any consciousness that arises, even though like they're defiled or the unwholesome consciousnesses?
No, they do not have any unwholesome consciousness at all, and they will not have wholesome consciousnesses too, right? In the categorization, in the breakdown of the consciousnesses, there are certain consciousnesses called resultant consciousnesses, right? Resultant consciousnesses and functional consciousnesses, right? So I'm not sure whether this is too technical in the beginning. Anyway, I'll explain it, right? So these resultant consciousnesses, they arise within us too, right? So when we see the forms, right? When we see material outside, the forms, right? When we hear sounds, when we inhale the fragrance, any types of that. So in these kind of situations, the resultant consciousnesses will arise, which means we see and we experience these things because of a good karma or a bad karma that we did in the past. So in the case of the Arahanta, same thing, right? They also have, even though they have eradicated all defilements, certain karmas, they give results, right? So when they are living in a day-to-day life, certain types of karmas give results. But the special case with the Arhantas is that when they perform certain activities, when they meditate, when they walk, when they teach Dhamma, when they preach Dhamma, when they reflect Dhamma, right? In those cases, when they're doing those things, there are certain consciousnesses called functional consciousnesses, right? So if we do those activities, right? So if we now I'm teaching Dhamma here and you're listening Dhamma here. So now the consciousnesses, the type of the consciousnesses which arise in our minds are wholesome consciousnesses, right? These are the wholesome consciousnesses, right? But if the Arahanta does the same thing, the types of consciousnesses which arise in the Arahanta are called functional consciousnesses. Functional means, literally means, it's merely a function. It will not give any results in the future, right? But for us here, when I'm teaching Dhamma, I accumulate merits. And when you're listening to Dhamma, you're accumulating merits. And these merits are capable of giving results in the future. But the case of the Arahantas, they have the functional consciousnesses, right? So that's a different. There's a difference between the Arahantas and non-Arahantas.
Thank you, sorry, Ransa.
Okay, the next one is the book describes 12 unwholesome consciousnesses and 3 unwholesome roots: greed, hatred, and delusion. Do each of the 12 unwholesome consciousnesses arises from all 3 roots, a combination of roots, or a single root? Now, what are these roots? What are these roots? What is the term, English term that they used here? Attachment or greed, right? Yeah, greed rooted. Right, 3 roots. There are 3 roots.
Yeah, greed, hatred, delusion. And they said they were mental factors.
Greed, hatred, and delusion. So there are 8. Okay, so I think you all are. So this, for the greed-rooted ones, how many consciousnesses? You already know, right? It's 8. And for the 8, yeah, there are 2 for hatred-rooted consciousnesses. And here there are, for the delusion, also there are 2 consciousnesses, right? I will write here consciousnesses. Right? So 8 consciousnesses, and here there are 2 consciousnesses, and for delusion there are 2 consciousnesses. And for the in the consciousnesses associated with greed, there are 2 roots, right? The delusion and greed. So this delusion is called, it's applicable, it arises with all types of unwholesome consciousnesses, right? With all 12 of them, this delusion arises, right? So it's applicable everywhere. For the hatred, there are 2 roots, delusion and hatred. And for the 2 consciousnesses with delusion, there is only delusion, right? So this one, it's 2 rooted. The greed consciousnesses associated with greed, there are 2 rooted. For the hatred, it's 2 rooted. For the consciousnesses associated with delusion, with only the delusion, it's only one route.
Thank you, sorry, Radha.
Okay. Any questions? Right on. Anyone can ask, right? Do we? Can anybody unmute themselves and talk? Like, is there a restriction in the chat? No.
I think question 5, we and Darshi were wondering this while we were going through the chapters on Wednesday.
I cannot hear. What did you say? Cannot hear.
Sorry, Bhante, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So the 5th question, me and Darshi were wondering this, were asking this when we went through, I think the final chapter 7, when we went through the specific examples for what type of actions and thoughts would be under say an unprompted consciousness versus a prompted consciousness. So we were thinking if a prompted consciousness would be either from pushing from someone else or from our own mind, whether most of our thinking is prompted, because it would have been from a previous consciousness that had the same thought. Say, for example, we've been thinking of stealing something for a while. So is there any thoughts that we have that are actually unprompted?
Yeah, I think it's the problem is with that the word it's taken literally. It's not really explained here. This prompted and unprompted, I don't know these terms are translated into English. In the correct way. I don't know whether the language itself have proper terminology to explain. If you say that, the let me find those English terms. I don't know.
I think because in the book it was saying unprompted means that the thought was there without any
Hesitancy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, check whether they have the English terms here. Without intention, no, it's not really showing it here. Okay, so what it means is that if there is a kind of a hesitancy, right? If the mind, okay, the word is drawback, right? Like withdraw, we call it withdraw, right? Yeah. In the process of doing, in the process of it, let it be a mental karma, let it be a bodily karma or a verbal karma, if there is a withdrawal in the process of doing that karma, that consciousness is called a prompted one, right? If there is no withdrawal, that is called an unprompted one. Okay, the example I think which is given for the I'm not sure which example. Okay, so it's like assume that someone wants to steal something, right? Somebody wants to steal something, and that person knows that stealing is not good, right? That's a bad karma. It's a bad karma. So because of the bad karma, then he thinks, okay, this is not good, and I'm not going to steal. Right? This will create a bad karma, and it will have bad consequences, right? And sometimes you might think, oh, if someone sees me, someone see this thing, and then I will be subjected to punishment. I will be subjected to be many other adverse things, right? You will think like that, and there will be a hesitancy. So initially, that person is thinking of stealing that thing, whatever the object, and then there is a hesitance. That there are hesitancy, and then he withdraws. I'm not going to do it. There's a hesitancy, right? So with that hesitancy, later on, then he thinks, no, I have to steal this thing. I like this very much, right? So the attachment is quite intense, and after that, after subduing that withdrawal thought, that person will steal that thing. So in the process of stealing, right, from the point that the person started to think about stealing, started to plan, right, up at this point of the initial point, up to the point of stealing, that the stream of consciousness, it was disrupted. There was a it was disrupted. It was not smooth, right? And because of that, the intensity of the karma is less, right? It's not very. It did not happen very smoothly, right? We know in the Dhamma, it's called the cetana, the volition. It becomes the karma, right? The volition itself becomes the karma. So the stronger the volition, the intense, the high, the resultant will be. It will have many either good or bad consequences, right? So now the example that I was giving you is the karma of stealing. So if somebody is going to steal, then because of the disruption in the stream of consciousnesses, then that karma will be less intense, right? Assume that person did not have that kind of a thing, right? He thinks and steal, right? He plans, steal, and there was no any withdrawal in the process. So that one is intense, right? There is no hesitancy in the process. So that karma will give results, much more adverse results than the first person, the first scenario. It is the same case for the wholesome too, right? So if a wholesome karma is done with hesitancy, with withdrawal and all, it will have less results compared to a karma which does not have that kind of a withdrawal or hesitancy, right? So that's why the unprompted consciousnesses are considered stronger and more powerful than the prompted ones. Right. So this prompting and unprompting, it can happen within us, and it can happen because of the other person is asking to do it, right? So every time, even if the other person is asking, requesting another person to steal, and if there is no hesitancy, the consciousness is not prompted. It becomes unprompted, because from the moment that the other person suggests or requests, that person will go and steal. So it's not unprompted in that kind of a scenario, right? Yes. So it's like that, right? Same with the killing too, right? So I think in the example or in the Q&A, I think you will have to study in this in the next month. Yeah. Assume that as a master is asking the servant to kill an animal, right? Assume to kill a chicken, to take them to eat. So when they do that, so if the servant is hesitant, he does not like to do it, and that he will not have the karma is less intense than a person who does not have that hesitancy. That's why.
Okay, so the difference is whether the mind hesitates or not before
Yeah.
doing the act.
Yeah, hesitates. The other term, I think the Pali word, which is quite close to this, is like withdrawing, right? Withdraw the karma and they do it again.
Thank you, Bhante, for clarifying that.
Okay. Next question. What is the consciousness that arises in a person who eats at the request of a friend, but without any liking for it? Okay, so I think this part of request of a friend that comes with the thing, the factor of prompted and unprompted. I think this part is clear for you now, right? So let it be a request of a friend, or which is your which is one's interest, one's thing. It happens because the promptedness and the unpromptedness, it happen within, if there is any withdrawal or hesitancy. What is the consciousness? It depends, right? So sometimes it can eat with attachment, with attachment on that food, right? It can, somebody can eat with hatred if they do not like the food, or if they are in a different, if they're in a bad mood, then they will not like it, right? Whatever the food, they will not try to, how no matter how tasty the food is, not like the food. So yeah, so then so those are consciousness, right? So sometimes associated with hatred, and sometimes it can be associated with delusion, right? Delusion rooted consciousness, right? If the person is distracted and not, the mind is wandering here and there, and mostly there's a possibility that the two not two this one one of the two consciousnesses associated the delusion can arise, and this food can be consumed with wholesome mind, right? So with the wholesome mind means that by reflecting the food and having attention on the food, not just mere attention, right? Attention according to the Dhamma, right? Not the mindfulness that y'all hear, that y'all listen nowadays. What I'm telling is that, based on the Dhamma, right? Reflecting the qualities of the food, right? Reflecting the, maybe you can reflecting on the elements of the food they can eat, right? So there are many ways in Dhamma then how this food is consumed. If they are practicing that, then that food will be consumed with a wholesome consciousness.
Swami Mansa, we were wondering for these two examples. So we were going through them. It was more the fact that we understood if they were glad-minded or equanimous or prompted or unprompted, but we weren't sure, like when you read this question, was there wrong view connected with this consciousness or was there no wrong view connected? Which is what we wanted to clarify with these questions. Like if you go to the statement above, it just says like we wanted to know the wrong view, that if wrong view was present in this consciousness.
Yes, it's possible for certain consciousnesses to associate it, and this wrong way we know that it's only associated, it's only associated with the hatred. I'm sorry, with only the greed, only the lobha, right? So in some of the lobha chittas, yes, it's possible, and this associated with wrong view, right? This association with the wrong view, it comes with the in the first, in the beginning of, in the first, in the chapter that you are learning, to make it very simple, the wrong view, what is the thing that is defined as wrong view is given for the karma, right? I mean, karma means the view on the karma, right? So if somebody is stealing, thinking that this stealing is not a bad karma, then with that there's a wrong view associated with that, right? That's a very simple and a basic way of explaining this association of the wrong view. But there are many other ways that this wrong view can be associated, right? So I mean, in our Dhamma there is nothing called a soul, right? Pali we call it atta, right? Atta means a soul. So there is nothing called a soul. But if somebody is thinking, oh, this soul, right, it's enjoying, right? I'm enjoying this thing. And if there are consciousnesses which comes with thinking about this soul view, right? It's going to be too technical, right? Associated with the five aggregates, it's possible that certain consciousnesses associated with the wrong view arising here. Right? It's possible.
So Simon wants it for like the second one. Could you say like, so what is the consciousness that arises in a person who's willing to wear fine clothes with pleasure and expectations for appearing more beautiful? So that would be the greed consciousness that's glad-minded. And I guess like it could be it's prompted by themselves. And could you also say there's wrong view associated with it, with them being the fact that they want to kind of make they that like the myself, the body, the soul beautiful.
Yes, it can, but the prompting and unprompting, it can vary. I mean, it cannot. There are many ways. Like, I mean, in a stream of consciousness, which is applicable for a certain karma, there will be. I mean, in the beginning, there will be consciousnesses associated. The consciousnesses will be sometimes prompted, and later it will be unprompted, right? So the Dhammasangani commentary, it gives a nice story from which comes from the wholesome side, right? So it says that in the monastery, right, there is a visiting monk arrived to the monastery. So if a visiting monk arrives in a monastery, the resident monks, they have to perform certain duties for the monks, right? It's part of the duty. Right? It comes in the Vinaya also. The monks has to perform certain duties for them, right? So if the monk is senior, they have to go welcome them and take their whatever their bags, the balls, and then have to attend them. There are many duties that the person has to do, right? It cannot stop. There is it says that you have to stop everything and do it. It get precedence over everything that serving this visiting monk, right? So when somebody comes like that, right, a visiting monk arrives in the monastery, and then maybe a senior monk will say, "Go serve this monk, right? Go serve this monk. Give him water, prepare this." This whatever the drinks, the prepare a kuti, a place for that monk to sleep, like that. So if somebody is asked to do something in the beginning, that the junior monk may not like it, right? Not like it to do it, right? So then, but still, because of the senior monk admonished, instructed, directed, that person will go there. The junior monk will go there and do that thing, right? But in the process, so because there's a hesitancy in the beginning, there was this prompted nature of these wholesome minds which are arising with that monk. Later on, he thinks, oh, this is a good karma. This thing can only be done in as a monk, right? Serving this monk. And also by serving this monk, visiting monk, I will accumulate a lot of merits. So it's it's a great opportunity for me to accumulate merits, right? And think in a very positive way. And then after that, he will do after that, that person will perform those duties without any form of hesitancy, any form of withdrawal. So later, then those consciousnesses will be unprompted, right? The same thing can happen for the unwholesome consciousnesses too.
Thank you, Swami Mahansa.
Thero Swamin Mahansa, I have two questions. It's related to consciousness. If you could explain that, it would be very good. Thero Swamin.
Okay. According to Abhidhamma, greed-rooted consciousnesses is always accompanied by pleasant or neutral feelings, right? Somanasa and upekha, and never by sadness. If a family member passes away and we feel sadness, what type of consciousnesses arise at this moment? The sadness, if you say the sadness, the Pali word is soka parideva, like means the despair. Then parideva means lamenting on something, crying. So in these kind of things, it's the consciousnesses which are associated with sadness. It's the greed rooted, the hatred rooted consciousnesses, right? Because there's a form of sadness, disliking on what happened, right? The family member passed away, and there's a disliking for that. Sorry, right? And this disliking can be rooted in attachment, right? You might be recalling those good memories, bad memories, whatever the things that you had with this person, and there is this attachment. So this attachment become the source for the sadness. So in the stream of consciousnesses which are happening away in this time of on grieving of this person, both the attachment, the greed rooted consciousness will be there, and also the both the greed rooted consciousnesses and the hatred rooted consciousnesses will be there, right?
Swamin Mahansa. Then the beings in hell, do they experience only hatred?
Yes, most of the time, yes, it's the possibilities that they go through, the possibilities that the consciousnesses associated with with hatred to arise, because they are going through a lot of or adverse experiences, like they are very intense, severe, and because of that they have these consciousnesses associated with the domanassa, the hatred, right? uh, but still, I mean, I think in the fourth chapter, I think that we learn that in the types of consciousnesses for the beings who live in the hell, they can sometimes have the consciousnesses associated with greed, and sometimes they can have consciousnesses, the wholesome consciousnesses too. They arise, right? So that's how they are reborn in a good realm later on, right? Because there's a possibility that of arising of the wholesome consciousnesses.
Thank you, Swami Mahansa.
Okay, do we have Steve Green here? No? Okay. Anyway, I will answer the question for the second book, page 35. Okay, what does it mean as the second book? I think it should be this Mulika Karan. Yeah, it's referring to this one, right? What does the word action and the status of action really mean? Okay, first we'll find these words. Okay. Actions we find here and the status of actions. I think it's not worded properly, I think. All Paramattha Dhamma are actions and non-material. This one is worded correctly. It means that all the ultimate realities, the Paramattha Dhamma, they have an action, which means they have a certain function. Even today, I use this word function when I was explaining the mentality. I said mentality. So in the mentality, we have the mind, the consciousness. So the function, the action of the mind is to cognize the object, right? And the function of the action of the mental factor greed is to have attachment on certain objects. The function of hatred is to dislike the object which is taken by the mind, like that, right? So like that for all the uh, all the all the ultimate realities, there are actions. I think this one is not worded very clearly. The person who has not recognized properly about, I mean, you can say the person who has not uh, recognized these actions finds it difficult to understand the nature of the paramattha, of the ultimate realities, right? So I mean if you take it very technically, based on the commentaries, this action and uh, the characteristic is, I mean, uh, are, are almost the same, right? I would say, I mean, they are distinct, but they are part of the ultimate realities, right? If somebody can understand the action, the function of the uh, of a particular ultimate reality, and also if if, and then the other thing is to understand the characteristic of the ultimate reality. Those two things, if they can understand either of them, right, they are understanding this ultimate reality itself, right? So like those are two different approaches to understand the ultimate realities, right? Knowing the function or the action, or knowing the characteristic of the ultimate reality, right? So for certain paramattha dhamma, certain ultimate realities, the action and the action and the characteristic are the same, right? I don't remember exactly for which of them are the same, but I remember there are certain ultimate realities. They had this thing. Okay, we have to. This is quite an interesting question, quite philosophical, I would say. Okay. Bhante, two questions came up when reading part of Abhidhamma. Any clarification would be appreciated. In the section on the absolute and the convention, it is written that if the collection is the table, there are these pieces of timber should be table irrespective of how they are placed. Couldn't we say that the table is composed of these pieces in that specific arrangement? Yes, we can say, right? We can say we go to this statement. Can anybody remember the page? Any idea on that? Did you mention the page? Let me check. No. Absolute and convention.
Page 25, Swami Wansa.
25, right?
24, 25.
I'm looking at the wrong book. Yes, I mean what the author here, Venerable Chandravimala Mahathera, is doing here, he's building this argument, right? He's building the argument, or rather, pretty much phrasing this way on how to understand the how to distinct on the absolute. I mean, the paramatta is the absolute, the ultimate realities, and the conventional reality, right? So the essence of this lesson is that, I mean, what usually what we see, what we experience most of the time, it's the convention reality, right? In the conventional reality. So in the conventional reality, there is something called a table, right? But if you if you dig down deep into that, then there is nothing called a table really, right? So it's as you mentioned here, because it is composed in a specific arrangement, that this is called a table, right? But if you remove it, you break it down to pieces, you don't anymore, you will never say that these things are called a table. You'll say these are pieces of timber, rather than telling it's a table, right? And then if you further break it down, then you will tell it's in another way, right? So for the timber, so the initially what you had as the convention is the table. Then later it became pieces of timber, right? So if you break it down further, the convention changed, right? That's what the author is trying uh, to to come up with, right? Yes. So both these things, right? Both these things are realities. The conventional reality and absolute realities. Yeah, that's how we should understand it, right? I think this second part of the question will be answered based on that that answer on the first one, right? So moreover, it is posited that the table does not exist in reality, only its atoms, right? Yes. Yeah. So I mean, we can say in a different way. I mean, I would like to explain it. I would like to add a couple more statements, right? I mean, if we break the table down, I mean, according to the Dhamma, what is there are the four elements, right? In the chapter on the materiality, we'll be learning on different types of elements. So there are something called four great elements, and there are other related elements according to Dhamma. So what is there in reality, in absolute or the ultimate reality, are these elements, right? So when we uh, when we investigate the conventional reality, uh, deep into the conventional reality, it breaks down, right? It cannot stand it on its own, right? But when we dig deep, and what is there is the ultimate realities, right? So it can be in the form of materiality in the case of table, and if you look at the humans, our ultimate reality are two types: the mentality and the materiality. So that's how it works. Okay, there were other questions, but that student said that he's not attending the class, so I will not answer those questions. Any questions that I missed? I think I copied all the questions here now.
There was one question I wanted to ask regarding what you mentioned about the physical elements, what it mentioned in the book as corporeality. So
Yeah.
it did mention that there are 28 corporealities, only one of which is actually visible to the eye.
Yeah, that is
And
the rupa, the
yeah,
color.
they call it color. Do they mean like actual color or light?
Yes. No, the color. Light is also a form of color. Is it a color? Yeah, it includes color too. Yeah, the light also. Yes.
Okay. And that includes factors such as heat as well. Like what are the Pali terms?
Yes, yes. It includes heat too, right? So yeah.
Apo, Tejo, Vayu.
Yeah. So usually for any types of materiality, I mean, there is something called, I don't know the English term, right? The smallest unit, the smallest unit on the materiality is called I don't know the English word for that. Yeah, I can say it's a collection of material element. I mean, it means that, I mean, the materiality, they do not exist standalone. If you say, I said there are four great elements, but still those four great elements, they cannot, they do not stand alone. They are always combined with, they are combined, four of them are combined in the lowest unit. And also there are other forms of materiality which comes into this unit, right? So there are different ways for different parts of the body, for different individuals, different realms, that this materiality is changing, right? We'll be going into those detail later on. But for the for the time being, understand that there are many types of materiality, right? So, I mean, in certain objects, certain types of materiality are evident for us more than the other. Prominently, we can notice them, right? But mm, but say for example, now we have this cup here, right? So what is more evident or in this cup is the hardness, right? It's the hardness element which is evident here. But there are other elements too, which is evident in this thing, like that.
Or we can't sense.
We can sense certain types of materiality, we can sense directly. So if you touch here, we can, three types of things can be understood here. The the earth element, the fire element, and also the air element that can be sensed here. I mean, even in our body, we can do it, right? Without any problem. And the water element also, it can be understood not by touch, not by touching, by the mind we can understand it like that. And then you said that you read that there are 28 types of materiality. So these 28 types can be understood, they can be comprehended through meditation, right? With a good samadhi, with a good concentration meditation. And if somebody is practicing systematically, and they can directly experience this materiality.
Okay, thank you, Bhante, for explaining that.
Okay, so is that all? Okay, shall we conclude our session? I will assign you all some reading tomorrow or the after tomorrow. I will assign you some reading.
Okay, Swami Mansa. Venerable Atulanaṇa Bhante, with deep respect and gratitude, we would like to share the merits gathered from today's Abhidhamma session with you. May this merit support your long life, good health, strength, and happiness, and get closer to ending the cycle of samsara in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. And may it also be a blessing for you to continue spreading the Dhamma and guiding many more people on the path of wisdom and compassion. May you be well, peaceful, and protected by the blessings of the Triple Gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We'll share merits too. The merits that we accumulated by learning, teaching, and discussing with the deities, the deceased relatives of ancestors, and make a wish that we attain Nibbana from this karma. So I will recite these Pali stanzas. Right? If you know, you can recite, and if not, you all can read it and share merits together with me. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha ca bhummattha devanaga mahiddhika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang parang. Idammi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idammi ñātīnaṃ hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Imina puñña kammena māmi bāla samāgamu sataṃ samāgamu hotu yāva nibbāna pattiyā. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa Yatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukhamuttamang chirang tittatu sadhammo dhamme huntu sagarava sabbepi satta kalena Samma devo pavassatu yatharakkinsu purana surajanu tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranamha parimuccissami idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idamme punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu Buddha sasanang chirang tittatu Buddha sasanang chirang tittatu Buddha sasanang chirang tittatu Sadhu sadhu sadhu
Okasawandami bhante.
Sukhi jatu nibbana sacchantu
Maya katam punyan samina anumoditabbang.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami
Samina katam
Katam punyam
punam
mayataka.
mayandatabbang.
Sadhu anumoditabang
Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Okasadwara tenaya katan
Katam
sabbang
sabam.
achayang samatame
Achang
bhante.
kamatami bhante.
kamami kamitabang
Okasa kamami bhante.
Bhante.
Sukhi hotu
Okasa
nibbana
kamami bhante.
sacchantu
Satyam
Sadhu
yokasa
Yang sakamami bhante.
kamami.